All right, welcome everybody. This is Greg Towne with GT Training Systems. Want to thank you for joining us in today's webinar, Lead Generation with Networking. Uh, just wanted to kind of welcome everybody that came in. I see a handful of names that I recognize, and I see a whole bunch of names that I don't recognize. So for those of you that share today's webinar out there with your network and with your friends, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. I acknowledge that. I respect the time frame that you have that you're spending with me and stuff, and I absolutely guarantee I'll give you some awesome training, some awesome information, so, some things just to really kind of propel your business and stuff. Just kind of let you know, any questions you have, feel free to dump that into the chat window on the side there. I will answer all questions in depth and stuff. But normally I'd minimize out that screen and stuff because that way I don't get my ADD brain doesn't kick in as I see a question pop up off to the side and stuff. So want to thank today's sponsor, GT Training Systems. Basically we are a premier training company that works with professionals that have to not only be professional, have to be aces and pros in the product or the service that they provide for their clientele, but they also tend to find themselves, very much responsible for their own lead generating and items of that aspect. So with that, let's talk a little bit about the structure for today's webinar. I'm going to give you a quick introduction about me. As I said, I recognize a handful of the names, and I see a whole bunch of names here that I don't recognize, so I definitely appreciate you guys joining us and stuff. We're going to last about 45 to 60 minutes of pure awesome training, just very in-depth, powerful training. See a handful of people that have come in. We're on this training a couple of weeks ago and stuff, and glad to see you back. I'm going to do a quick introduction to my advanced training starting on September 7th. Don't worry, there is no pressure. As a handful of you know, I have a background in real estate, and it seems like for those of us in the real estate world, we always get pitched what I call the 30,000 and above the 30,000 and above aspect of these training programs will come in, and they do the carrot dangling technique and stuff, what I refer to as, that aspect of they'll give us kind of the high level overview, but they want us to spend $5,000-$10,000, go to California, go to Las Vegas, go to wherever for quote unquote their training and stuff, an aspect of it. My attitude is I want to give you very powerful, in-depth training. If you're ready to go, to move forward with us, to work with us one-on-one, awesome. If you're not ready, obviously I'm going to want us to stay connected and stuff. We do a lot of articles, we do a lot of other types of trainings and stuff, absolutely for free. And so that way, when you are ready, I obviously want us to be one of the first companies you reach out to and stuff. So. And then, as I said, there's going to be question and answers. I'll answer all your questions in depth. Feel free to ask any questions as far as dealing within lead generation or networking or how to promote your business or how to get yourself known out there. Feel free to ask questions about, anything that dealing with within your business. Social media is a really big one, a hot topic and stuff. As a lot of you know, I'm also very big on health and wellness, and I tell people it's like, for those of us that, we're self-employed, or the bulk of our income comes from our own personal production, our own personal activities and stuff, our energy level definitely ties into our bank account and stuff. So with that, do a quick little introduction here about me. The slides will work with us. All right, there we go. So who is Greg Towne? It's kind of funny. I'm sitting here in our training studios and stuff, and I've got the computers in front of me. I got the microphone off to the side of me, looking out. We've got, looking out the view of the west side of city of Tacoma and stuff. And, it's, I always find it ironic within these webinars and stuff. It's like, how we all get connected in online and stuff. But, and when I'm sitting on the other side and stuff, I'm always curious of, okay, what is the background of the person that's training me and stuff? What type of business do they do? What are their qualifications, for lack of a better word? Well, I'm a top producing real estate broker in Washington State. Earlier this year, I was actually awarded being one of the top 10 real estate brokers for all of Washington State. Apologize, you hear the water background there and stuff. I try to stay hydrated and stuff. But I'm also a published author. We published the book, Becoming Known as the Friend of the Business, going from salesperson to trusted advisor. And how that all came about was, ironically, I had a friend of mine that said, Greg, I do business with you because you're my friend first, my realtor second. And I sat there and said, there's something here. There's something golden with this. And so I went to my team and I was like, okay, how do we get ourselves out of the transactional side of real estate? We become more of the relationship side of real estate. And so we worked very intently. We worked very hard as far as, we didn't want to just become part of a transaction. We wanted to become part of somebody's, friendship and stuff. We wanted to build that degree of relationship. Well, other realtors and other real estate teams within my office was starting to see what we were doing and, how, our business was just exploding because of this. So I started working with other realtors in that aspect. Well, that led into all of a sudden lenders went, okay, well, hey, I'm all of a sudden, this one realtor over here I'm working with, or this one team here I'm working with, I'm seeing a lot of referrals for borrowers and stuff. So they reached out and said, hey, what are you guys doing? And from there, we even had insurance agents. All of a sudden they noticed, like, okay, this particular loan officer is all of a sudden putting in a whole bunch more binders and stuff. What are they doing? What's their business? Their business has exploded and stuff. So then we started working with people in the insurance world. About the time that I had attorneys and chiropractors and dentists reaching out to me to chat about marketing was when I knew that there was a training system, that there was a training module here that could be taught and stuff. And so that led into me basically working, becoming a speaker and trainer for multiple professionals in multiple industries and stuff. And the biggest thing of this here is also realize is I'm also a small business owner. I tell people I jokingly refer to as I own 2.5 businesses. And it is the biggest thing that separates me from most other trainers, from most other, webinar type of people is when we see something, I don't just read about something or hear about something and go, hey, that sounds really cool. Let's throw it into next week's webinar and stuff. It is what I do is I basically kind of look at something and go, okay, hey, I think that this will work. Let's put it into our real estate team. Let's work on it. Let's tweak it. Let's morph it. Let's play with it. Basically what I'm doing is I'm perfecting it. And then from there, we take it into our training company and we start, working with multiple industries in and stuff. So everything that I teach on, everything I train on is not theory. It's not the BS stuff. It's not like college, where you study a lot of theories and stuff, but it doesn't really apply to real world stuff. Everything we work on, we train on, we utilize in real world, we utilize day in and day out. I'm not just purely a quote unquote a sales guru or a sales speaker or a seminar speaker and stuff. I'm right there alongside with just about everybody else sitting on this webinar and stuff. I know what it feels like to be in the highs of highs, to have, to where it feels like everything you touch turns to gold and you're closing deals left and right. Everything's feeling wonderful. I also know what it feels like to be having, the world crashing around you. I mean, we go back in time to the real estate crash stuff where, the world's crashing around us and we're fighting tooth and nail just to literally keep our nose above water. We're stressing out how we're going to keep the doors open. So I'm right there in the trenches 100% with everybody that's on this webinar with us and stuff. And I can be the first, I'll be openly honest and transparent in the aspect of we all know that it's not easy. And I think that that's one of the things that we all appreciate is when we know that, that there's others out there that have fought the fight right alongside with us. So with that, to get the most out of today's webinar, first off, turn off all distractions. Turn off your cell phones, your emails, stuff like that. Give the chance to just kind of unplug from the rest of the world, spend about an hour here with me on stuff, and really we'll kind of get really fine-tuned. We'll get some really great knowledge and stuff for you. Get out a pen and paper, take notes. There's an old adage and stuff. I always tell people is like, I never trust my success purely off of my memory. I was at a chamber event earlier today and stuff, and most people that see me at chamber events, they say I normally have a notebook with me and stuff. As things that kind of pop into my head, I quickly jot that notes down and stuff because I never want to trust my future success or anything of that aspect purely 100% off of my memory. As I tell people, listen fast because I talk fast. And as long as technology works with us today, this session will be uploaded into our YouTube channel within 24 and 48 hours and stuff. So let's first get into types of networking event. When we think of networking events, I kind of classify them into what I refer to as traditional networking events and non-traditional networking events. I want to get your brain and your concept around of every time you're out and about, there's always a chance for you to make a connection and possibly find some business or find somebody out there that has a problem or a want or a need that you can help take care of for them, or a problem that you can solve for them and stuff. I really want you to start from this day forward moving into it, like really looking into it. It's like looking at everything you do as a, every chance that you have to connect with somebody, as whether that's in a traditional world of a networking event or a non-traditional. We'll go into examples of that. I really want you to look into it. It's like how to, every chance you get out there to meet with somebody is a chance for you to really truly build a connection, and from those connections you can lead into leads, and our leads lead into our prospects lead into our clients and stuff. So let's talk about traditional networking events. These are really easy. When most people think of networking events, these are items that most people out there always think of. First and foremost, chamber organizations. I'm a huge supporter of chambers. Very active with my own local chamber and stuff. And I mean, most chambers and stuff will have tons of networking events. On top of that, we have what's called leads groups. What I refer to as a lead group that's industry locked. And what I mean by industry locked is you'll have one person per industry in that leads group and stuff. So you'll have like, the top 3 or 4 tend to be like, you'll have one real estate agent. You will have one mortgage lender. You'll have one insurance person. You'll have one financial advisor and stuff. Those always seem to be like the top 3 to 4. But the leads group will basically only allow for one person per industry. Very similar to like a BNI or a LaTip or Network of Tacoma. Our Network of Tacoma is one of our local ones and stuff here, or a I Take the Lead or something of that aspect. There's also meetup groups, and that are open industry and stuff. Probably the biggest one out there to find these type of groups is meetup.com. So let's take a look at kind of a little bit more in depth of these 3, these 3 type of traditional networking events. And there's obviously more than 3, but these are normally the top 3 when people think of traditional networking events. Chamber organizations. Most chambers are going to have multiple events during the month. You're going to have a wide variety of people to meet. And I always tell people it's like the number one, there's 2 types of businesses that joins the Chamber of Commerce. Number one is your big named box, big named corporations and stuff. They join the chamber purely because it is a line item on their budget, and they look at it as it's giving back to the community. That's how like the Walmarts and the big name, a lot of the hospitals, that's how they look at their chamber organization. They are contributing back into their local community. So then you have companies like my company and stuff, the small to medium-sized companies. How we get, how we tend to get the most value out of our chamber membership is getting active and getting out there and networking and getting toe-to-toe and face-to-face with people and building those relationships. So, I mean, I always tell people the number one way to get your value out of your chamber membership is to get very active within your chamber members or chamber of Commerce. Myself personally, I actually sit as an ambassador, and I sit on the board of directors for my Chamber of Commerce. And the reason is because I understand that the more active I become within the chamber, the higher rate of return that I get out of my membership and stuff with them. The more connections I get, and the more cool people I get to hang out with and stuff. So next up is the leads groups, industry lock. These are going to be like your LaTips and your BNI. Traditionally, they meet once a week. You're normally going to have that same core group of people. And where I've discovered that you get to the best, your rate of return, your best, highest value on this is really that one-on-one meetings. And I even utilize this within my Chamber of Commerce stuff, is how I value a good networking event is, did I make a new, really good quality connection, or have I built on and expanded a new quality connection? And so a lot of times too, I'll reach out to certain people and stuff, say, hey, let's get together for coffee. Let's get together for a one-on-one. Or hey, I want to meet you at your business. I want to learn more about your business. That's what the one-on-one is. And then the other aspect is the meetup groups, the open industry. Most of them that I see out there, they meet about once a week or maybe once every other week. So they're either meeting like 4 times a month or 2 times a month. Traditionally, you'll see it once again, you're kind of your core group of people, but with visitors that will kind of float in and float out. And once again, in this industry and within the that type of meetup groups and stuff, once again, it's that one-on-one meetings that, kind of getting that chance to really just get in there and build a relationship with somebody. And you kind of see at the bottom slide there is relationship building is the key. In any way of these traditional networking events, in all honesty, in the non-traditional networking events, relationship building is absolutely the key. I was on a podcast just the other day dealing specifically with the real estate industry, and I refer to it as, in real estate, we're having what's called the Uber effect within real estate, in that aspect that we're having a lot of technology coming into our industry, just similar to like how insurance has had it, just similar to like the travel industry, just similar to how so many other lenders and stuff. There's so much of technology that the technology is almost like it's putting this barrier between us and our customers and stuff. It's if you think about it, for our loan officers, people out there and stuff, how easy is it for a uninformed consumer to sit there and go on www.iwantmyloan.com or 1-800-I-WANT-MY-LOAN or something of that aspect, put in some very bare basic information, and then what the consumer gets after that is a flooding of people, because with that, what those websites have done, they sold their information off as leads and stuff. Well, we're experiencing that in other industries and stuff, and so it's so much more of how we combat that. Well, you have a choice. You can either go into that business model, which at that point you become very price competitive, and you pretty much just start whittling away your compensation, or you build the relationships, you build those values and stuff. So what are some examples of non-traditional networking events? Like I said, I want you to kind of think of, this is going to challenge you into thinking of every time that you're out and about. This will give you the opportunity, you'll look at, how do I build connections? How do I build relationships? So some of those non-traditional networking events are sports or sporting events, civic organizations or social events. For years, I used to have season tickets to the Tacoma Rainiers. They were a minor league baseball team here in Tacoma, Washington. And I never thought about this concept as a networking event. Just purely because I enjoy the team, I enjoy baseball, and I enjoy Cheney Stadium because it's a smaller stadium, and you really get to see the players out there, and they're playing with their heart. And but what I discovered was that other season tickets holders and stuff, who would see each other for either 72 or 74 games a season, we would all sit pretty much in our same kind of area. We would have access to only season ticket holders areas of the stadium stuff, so we would see each other there. All of a sudden, we would start to get to know each other. And so that's where I kind of started learning about this concept, what I refer to as the non-traditional networking events. We had we had something of a common ground. We all enjoyed the team. We all enjoyed baseball. And that was from there where we kind of started building our quote-unquote our friendships. Other types of non-traditional networking events can be civic organizations. A lot of times Rotaries or the Kiwanis, or various organizations that are built around civic, doing good for the community. If there's a nonprofit that really speaks to your heart, get involved within that nonprofit. See if you can get on their board of directors. The ironic thing is, most board of directors, most nonprofits that I sit on their board of directors, it sounds kind of funny. We're actually looking for other people to be on the board of directors with us. Where most of us are running on skeleton crews and stuff. We're looking for other people that want to be part of our organization. The key element, though, with within the nonprofits and stuff, is you really want to you want to join a board or something like that. That's something that speaks to your heart. You don't want to. The last thing you want to do is join a particular nonprofit purely for the whole reason of, I hope that I'm going to meet the CEO or the president, or I'm going to meet this person, because that becomes very incongruent. It becomes very inauthentic. And I'm not sure how, but people pick up on that really, really quickly and stuff. So we'll see kind of people float in, and it's very obvious that that's their intent, and then they float out as fast as they float in and stuff. Other non-traditional networking events is social events, parties, get-togethers. How often do we get together with somebody for, it's like we're kind of wrapping up summer right now. It's like, how many times do you get together with somebody for barbecues and stuff like that? And you're kind of in a new group of people that part of the people and you don't know the rest of the people and stuff. Key elements you want to understand, you want to remember, though, is when you're in a non-traditional networking events, this is not the place to pitch your product or service. I know this goes against what most people think of when they think of, sales or sales type of training and stuff. you know, ironically, when somebody is in one of the, even business peoples and stuff, when we're at a sporting event or a civic organization, our resistance to sales typically kind of goes down a little bit because we know that we're in, quote unquote, a safe space. We're not going to get somebody coming in and pitching us their new, shiny marketing technique or something like that. But the second somebody comes in and their intention is just to come in and pitch, people are going to shut you down. They're going to, you're going to see people just pull away and resist from you. But if you go in there with the intention of, hey, I'm here to build some relationships. I'm here to meet new people. I'm here to have fun with some really cool people. It's very funny and ironic that how your business will basically start to grow and blossom out of this. And then later on today, we're going to cover some really cool techniques and some really cool questions so you can actually start kind of building up that relationship and building in those, truly building those connections with people. So let's talk a little bit about networking fails. We've all seen these, and if you have not seen this, you will see these. Trust me. First aspect, and I see this happen. I see this happen. Not every single time, but I still see it happen so much out of there. And I think everybody out there, amongst us and stuff has had an experience like this. And this is what I refer to as the networking by drive-by. We've all been there. We've all experienced it. We see a person walking through the door. They look to the left. They look to the right. They look all around. They smile from ear to ear. And immediately they jump into everybody's conversation. And I mean, their whole purpose is, I want to sling as many business cards out there and I want to get as many business cards back. And I'm going to spend as little amount of time with everybody out there, period. I think it should be considered a felony event. If you're found guilty of networking by drive-by, you should be banned from any networking event for at least 3 months. A 90-day timeout from being able to network and stuff. And ironically, these same people, they'll show up to the office the next day. They'll have a stack of business cards that they actually look like they accomplished something and they're proud of. And we've all seen these people and stuff. We walk by their desk and there's stacks and stacks of business cards, and they have no relationship. They have no connection. They could actually run into the person that's at the top of those business cards, and they would not even recognize them at the grocery store, something of that aspect. We've all experienced that. How many times have we been in the middle of talking with somebody and all of a sudden somebody kind of elbows their way in to really quickly say, hey, how are you? Hey, my product or service is blah, 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 blah. Let me grab your card. Here's my card. Great. I'll be in touch. And they're off to the next. If you haven't experienced that, I'm glad for you. It may be coming. Other aspect is what I call the wallflower effect. And this is where they connect with nobody. They kind of hide out in the shadows. A lot of time when we first enter into the world of business or the world of sales or the world of where we have to promote and market ourselves, let's take, for example, a CPA. I see this happen a lot with CPAs out there. They'll go to college. They'll go massively in debt to get the education. Then they got to go through this really extensive training and licensing process. They'll start working for a CPA, and they'll see where they can do things differently, or they get frustrated or something of that aspect, and they have that wonderful ideal of, I'm going to go open my own shop. I'm going to go open my own firm. And they go do that. They go join the chamber. They go join other business types of organizations, but they're not used to actually going out there and promoting and marketing themselves. They didn't realize that there's an aspect of when we open up our own business, we have two hats that we wear. One is the hat of the product or the service that we provide. The other hat is the marketing or the lead generation and stuff. And so then they fall back into this wallflower effect. A really cool thing is when you're out there in certain social circles and stuff, if you see somebody like that, they're really great and easy to approach. They're actually, 9 times out of 10, they're actually looking for somebody to come up and approach them and kind of help introduce them to stuff. Those people will become very, very loyal, and it's really great building some relationships with the people in that aspect. And then the final aspect is what I call the hovering effect. They hang out with the same people all the time. They kind of turn into their own little clique, for lack of a better word. The positive out of this is they're helping building on an existing relationship. But the negative of this is they're not creating any new connections. They're not putting themselves out there to actually connect with other people and meet other people. A very good friend of mine that's in he does with medical insurance and stuff. Him and I will see each other like at a chamber events or chamber after hours and stuff. We'll see each other, we'll catch up with each other really quickly, like just a couple of minutes and stuff. We'll literally high five or fist bump each other and we look at each other like, hey, I'm here to meet other people and stuff. Sometimes we'll get together afterwards and stuff just to kind of connect on a personal level and stuff, but we understand that if we're at a networking event, we're there to work, we're there to build connections, we're there to meet new people. So, how many of us have ever experienced that fateful question, what do you do? It is, I honestly, it's one of those, I hate that question and stuff. And normally this is why I try to start interacting. I'll start asking questions first because I don't want to get around to that question of what do you do? We'll take like my real estate team, for example. And if I have somebody ask me, it's like, well, what do you do? Easy response back is, well, I'm a realtor. I'm a real estate agent. And then that kind of stops the conversation right there, right off the bat. It just, now, did I really truly tell them what I did? Some people would say, yes, you gave them your job title, you gave them your job description, but did I really connect with them truly of what do I do? What's the value that I provide? What do I do that's different than all the other 18,000 real estate brokers in Western Washington out there, or or in this situation, it's like, I'm a sales trainer, I'm a sales speaker and stuff, or I'm a consultant. It's like, did I tell them what's different from me than all the other thousands of people out there that do, quote unquote, do what I do? So what I want to do is I want to kind of start asking some questions, and I want to truly connect with somebody. Now, and the ironic thing is, as humans, we really truly do connect through storytelling. And unfortunately, most of us growing up, how many people ever heard that analogy? Children are meant to be seen, not heard. Or, don't try to tell everybody about yourself. Be quiet, be polite. Well, in business, we have to be a little bit different. And truly how people connect is in the art of storytelling. So I want you to kind of look at, and I want to take notes on what I call the 5 connecting questions. One of the best questions that I find in, starting off with somebody is, where do you work at? And I tell people, like, in this analogy, I take myself, Greg Towne, back before real estate when I was still in corporate America. If you ask me what did I do when I was in corporate America, I would tell you it's like, well, I scuba dive, I go hiking, I travel. My job title was not part, to me, my job title was not part of my identity. Now, when we become business owners, or we become, we go into an industry and stuff to where our job title becomes, our business becomes more of our personality and stuff. That's, that's where we kind of get a little clunky and stuff and cumbersome and stuff. And so, but by asking somebody, where do you work at? That will lead me into a little bit about what they do professionally, or a little bit about themselves personally. And sometimes people will be like, oh, I work in Tacoma, I work in Seattle. Yeah, really great. Thanks for the geography lessons. What do you do in Tacoma, or what do you do in Seattle and stuff? Sometimes you got to kind of lead people back into a different way and stuff. But asking them, where do you work at? Well, tell me a little bit about what they, themselves personally and professionally. Another great question that I love asking is, what led you into that? Or if you really truly if the feeling is correct and stuff, it's like, what inspired you to go into that? This is a great chance to build some connection with that person. I have asked that question to attorneys. I have asked that question into hairdressers. I have asked that question to just about every profession out there. And if you think about it, nobody, when we were all kids, we did not get up and go to school and say, oh boy, when I grow up, I want to be an insurance agent, or I want to be a financial advisor, or I want to be an attorney. I look at myself when I was a kid, I wanted to grow up and be a rock star. I wanted to be an astronaut. None of us grows up going, I want to be whatever our job titles is. There was a reason why we got led into, or inspired us to come into where we work at. And we didn't go, it's like for me, I didn't go into real estate purely because of, I wanted to be a realtor. I got drawn and led into real estate because because it gave me a chance to really truly connect and kind of have fun and really meet some really cool, awesome people. So this right here will give you some great insight and of what their personality type is, and will kind of give you some really great connection and stuff. From there, I'll ask them, it's like, what was it like your first day? Now, think for a moment back in your first day when you went into wherever profession that you happen to be in. I remember very clearly my first day where I was 100% real estate agent. I had left the safety net of corporate America. I was in 100%. I killed what I eat. There was no safety net. There was no base salary. There was nothing. And if, for all of us, as we think back to that time frame, I can almost guarantee you there was a little bit of excitement and a whole lot of what I call the oh poo-poo moment. I hope this had better work out. And again, this is going to be some great connecting and building time. This is where you're going to really get to learn a little bit more in depth and insight into this particular person. And then from there, it's like, what do you like most about what you do? Once again, great building connection, great building connections, question here. You're also getting to learn a little bit about what the person likes and stuff. It is, I mean, don't get me wrong. We all have those days where we think my job sucks or what I do sucks. But for the most part, everybody that I see that's on this webinar and stuff, all the different industries I see represented here, we all truly love what we do, and to a certain extent, most of us probably feel like what we do does not always feel like work. We do have those moments where it does feel like work, and that's kind of helps counterbalances everything else. But think about it. When you ask me, it's like, what do you like most about what you do? It's like now you're getting a chance to really get to know this person. You're getting some really great insights on them and stuff. And from there, I kind of want to bring them back into, okay, the present and stuff. And, kind of how one of my favorite questions of bringing them back into the present is, what are you working on now? So I'm bringing them back into, I've kind of taken them from how they got started, what was it like their first day, kind of got some really good, connection there. And now I'm bringing them up to, okay, hey, what are you working on now? What's going on now and stuff? And so from there, from there, you really truly will kind of see it's like what big projects are they working on or what accomplishments have they just had and stuff. Once again, you're really building some really, really great connection with these people and stuff. Now, a lot of times somebody's going to, most of the time these people, they're going to start feeling a little uncomfortable. They're also going to realize like, wow, I've been doing a whole lot of talking. I've been really sharing, telling this person about myself, and I have no clue what you do. I have no clue anything about you. Sometimes people actually feel guilty that they have just taken all this time telling you all about themselves because remember, we all have that bullshit script of children are meant to be seen, not heard type of stuff. And so, and realize that these people, they don't have the training that you guys have just received. They don't understand how to ask these powerful questions and stuff. So a lot of times they're going to turn around and go, oh, well, hey, tell me about yourself, or what do you do? And then from there, you're now going to be able to custom tailor your message. You're going to be able to share with them your story and why you do what you do in a manner that's going to really truly relate and resonate with them. Well, guess what you're doing here? You're really truly building an awesome connection. So let's kind of go back in time, when those networking fails, and networking by drive-by. The person that does the networking by drive-by, if they actually do pick up the phone and they actually do call or they try to connect with somebody, it's going to be like, oh, who is this person? Oh, they said we met at some sort of chamber event or some sort of business after hours event or, business after business event or something of that aspect. It's going to be, they remember it's going to be like, oh, it's that creepy person. But if I've actually taken the time, the 10, 15 minutes, oh my God, maybe 20 minutes and stuff to truly ask some really great questions and really truly connect with somebody, now when I follow up with them or, anything of that aspect, now I'm not that, now I'm not that trainer, I'm not that consultant, I'm not that person that they met at a trade show or a chamber event or something of that aspect. Hey, I'm Greg, I'm their friend, I'm somebody that actually took the time to get to know them and stuff. I've now crossed over from that barrier of, the person that happens to work in fill in the blank to, now I'm that friend that also happens to do fill in the blank. So, and the funny thing is I've discovered this works in professional settings, social settings. These 5 questions are probably one of the best icebreakers I have ever been, discovered. The ironic thing is now that I'm single again, this works beautifully in the dating world for any of my single people out there and stuff. So now when you follow up, you have a true connection. You have a reason to follow up. They're going to actually welcome your call because this is not a cold call. This has now become a warm call. And the biggest reason is you took the time to build a connection. I hear all the time people refer to as, networking is a numbers game, and I tend to disagree with that. It is all, in certain aspects, yes, I will agree there is a numbers game. There is a numbers as far as I have to meet X amount of people to build the connections with the right amount of people and stuff. And so, my aspect is, okay, that aspect I'll agree it's a numbers game, but once I find the right people that I want to build the connections with, it's not a numbers game. Now it's a relationship game. So, from that aspect, I want you to kind of realize that success is never owned. It is purely rented, and the rent is due daily. You have to take daily actions to achieve and keep success. The greatest sports team train regularly to achieve their success. We just had the Olympics that just got wrapped up and stuff. And so we saw world-class athletes. They didn't just wake up one day and go, I'm going to go and be a world-class athlete. I'm going to go compete in the Olympics. They grew up and they trained religiously day in and day out for decades to become an Olympic-class athlete. Every top producer or performer in every industry out there that I have seen has a coach or has a mentor or somebody that helps make sure they stay on top of their A game. As I always tell people, the number one investment you can make is purely 100% in yourself. So, and I apologize to anybody that happens to be eating lunch right now and stuff. I know that this tends to be kind of a gnarly photo and stuff, but this is one of the best photos out there for kind of making the comment of, are you committed or are you interested? We've all seen the beautiful ballerinas out there. We've all seen the beautiful dancers out there. They literally look like they're gliding and they're floating across the stage. And a good friend of mine, she was a ballerina growing up. She was a ballerina mom, and now her kids are in ballerina. She was the one that first helped kind of open my eyes to the aspect of that, that there is years and years and sometimes a decade plus of training and practice and everything that goes on just for the chance and the hope to make it to a particular stage. And so we all see, kind of the shoe on the foot on the right here, the very pretty taped up shoe and the very pretty foot that just effortlessly glides across the stage and stuff and just floats across and stuff. And what we don't see is the foot on the left without the shoe, with the bandages and the beaten up and the abuse that's been taken on that, the training, the daily rituals that has been done to day in and day out, so that they can, when it is time for them to perform and to go on stage, they can look like it is just doing it flawlessly and effortlessly. So I want you to understand the business builder's game. And sometimes I get a little bit of pushback on this. And sometimes people say, hey, my business is not a game. And I get that. I understand that. My business, absolutely, it's how I provide for my family. It's how I keep a roof over our heads. It's how I keep food on the table. I understand that. I get that. As I tell people, I'm right there in the trenches right alongside with you. When I use the word game, I'm using it as far as an analogy of showing up with your game day face on, you're, ready to just rock and roll, ready to hit it. Just like, we're going into the NFL season and stuff. Last night, the Seattle Seahawks played. They just didn't all of a sudden show up one day. You wake up one morning going, oh boy, it's Thursday. We got a game tonight against the Dallas Cowboys. No, they trained for this game. They prepped for this game. They showed up 100% committed that they were going to be successful with their game and stuff. And so that's the level of commitment we have to show up for our business. And so, part of the steps of the business builder's game is we have to look at what our activities are. What are activities that we're doing day in and day out? What are the activities that we're doing that are help generating business? If we're doing the right activities, we should be getting what's called leads. Our leads are basically, people that say, okay, here's my contact information and maybe I'll have a conversation with you. Well, from our leads, they lead into how many appointments are we making? How many of those leads are we connecting with that we're actually getting appointments made? How many, we're actually getting, consults and stuff sit down with. And I tell people, it's like, I always wish that I could say I always hit 100% of my appointments made or become appointments conducted. I don't know many people that actually have that. If they do, their numbers are probably not very high. Very few of us actually 100% of all of our appointments made that we actually conduct. Life happens. Life comes up. People flake out on us. People blow us off and stuff. A technique and a tool that I use when I'm making an appointment is I'll basically, what I refer to as, I tie down that appointment. And I'll ask them, it's like, hey, do me a favor. Look at your calendar. Is there anything that you can see on your calendar that would keep you from being able to meet on this, this time frame and stuff? What I'm doing is sometimes I'll have, oh my God, I didn't realize my kids have softball practice that day, or oh, I'm going to be out of town on at a conference that week and stuff. What I'm doing is I'm trying to basically tie down. I want to make sure that there's nothing else that's going to come in for a conflict and stuff. And as I jokingly tell people, it's like, if an event does not make it into my calendar, it does not happen in my world. 9 times out of 10, most of the time, I could not tell you what day of the week it is. And I tell people, you know what day of the week it is? You're not busy enough. But I know where my calendar tells me where I need to be at. My calendar becomes basically my commitment level and stuff. So from our appointments conducted is where we get our clients from. And I want everybody out there, I want you to have a strong enough business that you don't need to take every client that comes through your door. Any of us that have been in business long enough, we've all probably share horror stories as far as the client from quote unquote hell. The clients that were just absolutely hated to work with and stuff. Well, if you build enough activity, you get enough, you make enough, business noise out there, you don't have to take everybody that walks through your door. And there's nothing more rewarding to say, hey, I'm not the right person for you. I'm not going to be the right fit for you, but here's somebody that is. And then from our clients comes from how many contracts we have. It is in real estate, how many listing agreements do we have? How many buyer's agency agreements do we have? In insurance, how many insurance applications are we signing? And, those aspects, because I'm pretty sure we all everybody out there has had that experience. Just because we have somebody say that they're a client doesn't turn into a income producing contract or something of that aspect. So if we were to work these items backwards, basically if you're going to say, okay, for this next year, I want to make X amount of dollars. I want my income to be this. Well, we now have to look back at, okay, each one of your contracts or each one of your sales or each one of, when you get compensated, either whether through an insurance policy or a real estate transaction or a loan closing or for an attorney for, what's their average income per client and stuff, you have to look at, okay, what's my average per contract and stuff? Well, okay, so if I want to make X amount of dollars, how much, how many contracts how many, units or widgets do I have to, services do I have to provide? Well, if I'm going to have that many sales, how many clients do I need to accomplish that? And if I need X amount of clients, well, how many appointments do I need to conduct? How many appointments do I actually have to sit down face to face or, virtually or on the phone with somebody to before they become a client? And then from those appointments conducted, how many appointments have to be made so that I can get those appointments conducted? Well, from that, how many leads do I need to have to make those appointments? And now we go all the way back to our activities, like what type of activity do we need to do day in and day out so that we get the amount of leads so that we can, that we can get the appointments and stuff. So I really want you to kind of take a look at this, screenshot it, screen capture it, or definitely come back in for a rebroadcast and really kind of dial in and take a look at very closely of what exactly are your numbers and stuff. And it is, as we're kind of going into Q4 and stuff, this is where we need to start planning for next year. And you don't have to wait till January 1st to start planning out your next year's numbers and stuff. You can kind of sit there and go, I'm going to start planning from September to September. What are my next year's numbers and stuff that I need to really start dialing in? So the last thing I do every day is I do some daily planning and reflection. I deal in the realities. I cut out the crap. I really truly look at what did I accomplish that day? Did I win that day? Did I operate at the highest and best use of my time? I jokingly, well, I don't jokingly tell me, I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today, and I told her, it's like, I look at, if I looked at the last 12, 18, or 24 hours, would I hire myself or would I fire myself? Now, do I win 100% of my days? Do I win 7 out of 7? Honestly, no. Life happens. Life gets in the way and stuff like that. Do I win the majority of the time? Absolutely. And the reason is because I look at, I look and, and if I lose a day, I don't carry that onto the next day and stuff. I look and how do I transition into the next day for a winning day? I also look into, okay, what's coming up in the next couple of days and stuff. I'm always looking at how am I going to operate in the highest, best use of my time? So, I want to talk a little bit about my advanced next level training and stuff. Our 90-day Business Accelerator Bootcamp. What this is designed for, as I said, most of our people that come in, they are absolutely studs and they're true professionals and they're great at the product or the service that they perform and they provide for their customers or their clientele. But what they didn't discover was, that there's also an element in here called marketing and making noise and promoting themselves and actually getting out there so that, they can discover those people that need their products or service so that they can actually work with them and do the product service that they provide and stuff. A lot of times real estate brokers, insurance agents, attorneys, dentists, chiropractors. I've even had property managers and even landscapers come in through this program and stuff. What I want to do in the next 90 days is we're going to fast track your business for success. We're going to get really intentional on generating leads, and not only just generating leads, because so often I see people, they'll do really great at generating leads, and then they suck at following up leads. And you know what happens? All of a sudden, all that effort and time and money that you put into generating those leads, they slip through the crack, or what we slip through the cracks. Honestly, we screwed up. And then they end up going and purchasing through somebody else, and then we get upset because we realized that as they went and they did business with somebody else, that was income that went to, that was income that we spent our income to help cultivate or a business and stuff, and it ended up slipping through our cracks and going somewhere else. Ironically, most people, they have more of a follow-up issue than with leads than a generating leads. We're going to go into how to convert those leads into paying clients or customers, really get into how to build the relationships with those people and stuff, so you kind of get yourself a raving fan base and stuff. We're going to go really in depth in social media and how you use social media to not only as a follow-up tool, as a connection tool, but also as a business generating tool. And I always find it, a good friend of mine that she's in the financial services world and stuff. And I mean, I get, hear so many people in the financial arena. It's like, well, I can't have a Facebook. It's against my compliance. Well, I always tell people, like, I will always, always do what compliance tells you to do. If they're signing your paycheck, you want to play in the realms that they play in and stuff. But I have a really good friend of mine that she is a stockbroker. She's a financial advisor. She works with stocks, bonds, mutual funds, every aspect of financial world that you can think of. And she's probably got one of the more active Facebook pages out there. But you know what? She talks zero about her business. And her attitude is, anybody that's connected with me on Facebook, they're a friend of mine, they know what I do professionally. Facebook is purely for me to share with the world what's going on in my life and stuff. That's what, that's how we utilize social media to stay in that, stay connected. We're going to talk about how to build referral sources. We're going to go very much in depth on closing techniques and when is it, realizing that a lot of time, are we using a product close? Are we using a service close? How do we properly close and take care of this particular customer and stuff? We're going to go very in depth on phone skills. I was actually talking to one of my agents the other day and stuff. She's like, "Oh, I hate the phone," and I was like, I looked at her, it's like, "Do you realize that I do millions and millions and millions of dollars a year in real estate off of my phone, and I do about $500,000 to $600,000 a year of trading just off of my phone?" I love the phone, and once you understand how to properly utilize the phone, it becomes one of your best friends. And once again, we're going to really dial in. We're going to get your follow-up systems in place, so that way, all this effort and time that you're spending in the lead generation time leads into you cultivating and working and building relationships with these people, so that on the follow-up side here, so that it turns into business. We're going to also have a bonus session. As many of you know, I'm very big into health and wellness and stuff. So we're going to have a bonus session just dealing purely within health and wellness and weight management and how to truly live in your optimum health. And as I tell people, it's like, the most important aspect is your energy management. The ironic thing is I tell people it's like just about everybody out there that works in the aspect of sales or consulting, or they may have a little bit of a base salary, but they make the bulk of their money in commissions or overrides, or anything of that aspect. I tell us like you're almost like a professional athlete. You really truly have to look at that, and you look at yourself in that aspect. Because if I wake up in the morning and I don't have energy and I'm not ready to go hard charging, I show up to a business mixer event, something like that. If I'm exhausted and tired, nobody wants to come chat with me. But hey, if I have energy and I have life and I have activity, everybody wants to come and talk to me and stuff. So it's like, how do we manage that, and how do we make sure that we live in that optimal level of health so that we have that energy level that we need so that we can go do business? So that, I tell people, it's like, I want to be on, when I'm in business, I want to be on and ready for business. For my family, I want to be on and ready for my family. I don't want to be that person that goes out there, works hard all day, comes home to my family, sits in the chair, and then watches TV, and there's no relationship with the family, anything like that. That's not a lifestyle out there. I want to help you get your energy levels up and in place. And we're going to talk a little bit about diet. We're going to talk a little bit about nutrition. We're going to talk a little bit about activities. We're going to talk a little bit about supplements. We're going to talk about, one of the big things that I talked about is, having blood tests drawn and stuff. Why? Because I want to check, make sure, that my body's operating the way it needs to be operating. And is there something I need to change within my diet? Or is there something I need to change and, to add to my body or take away from my body and stuff, so that I'm living in that optimal health and I have that energy, consistently. So each week is going to be between 60 to 120 minutes, so basically an hour to 2 hours of live, in-depth webinars. This is not a recorded session. These are not videos. This is a live webinar. We're going to have questions and answers. We're going to be going, each one is, each one of these 90-day sessions is a little bit different because I tie in the industries and stuff that, that we have registered in and stuff. We're going to have a private Facebook group that's going to be just our boot camp members. These are going to be a great place to answer questions, network, great way to mastermind. Honest to God, my best growth relationships have come from masterminds just like this. I belong to a handful of them, and I mean, this is some of my best marketing ideals, some of my best business building ideals. I mean, this is honestly, this is where we've pulled website. This is where we've found our web designers at, is through a lot of these mastermind groups. We're going to have weekly action items. This is boot camp style training. I'm an Army vet. This is the best that I know. We're going to be given assignments. You're going to be held accountable. I'm going to find people in similar industries, but not in your similar marketplace. Just like how one of the mastermind groups that I belong to is a real estate mastermind group, where we have top producing realtors all across the U.S. We tear each other's marketing apart like you would not believe. We refer business back and forth like you would not believe. And the beautiful thing is, we'll never be each other's direct competition. One of my best friends from Phoenix, Arizona, him and I will never be competing for the same same buyer or the same listing, because we're in two different marketplaces and stuff. Execution absolutely is the heartbeat of your business. The second that it stops is the second your business will start to die. There's an old adage: if you're not constantly growing, you're dying. Going stagnant or being the same in business is the kiss of death. So the funny thing is, we absolutely live in this crazy world. We talk about the CPAs, but we can talk about attorneys. We can talk about dentists. People will go hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. I spoke at a dental conference and stuff, and this dental conference was one of the few ones out there that was all about how to build your business. Most dental conferences and stuff, it's all continuing education, how to fill a tooth filling. I'm sorry, they learned that crap when they were in school and stuff. But I mean, it's like people will spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to go in debt so that they can learn how to be the professional and provide the service that they truly were called to do, and to work in the industry that they want to work in. But they never get the training or the education to actually how to promote and market their business, so that they can actually go find the customers and the clients to go put into the, they can actually provide the service for and stuff. So for an extremely small amount of money, you'll learn the necessary skills, along with the private one-on-one coaching, how to create a business smart plan that's going to help generate 7+ figures a year. So our 90-day boot camp with in-depth hardcore coaching, you get 100% me. And as most people know, it's like, in my own events, you get the unfiltered Greg, you get the, you get the old drill sergeant Greg and stuff, plus the inside Facebook group alongside with daily access to me. If you were to reach out to any other top producing coaches out there, if you were to reach out to my company and say, hey, I want this level of private one-on-one time with Greg, easily it's going to be close to $60,000, just about in any other top level coach out there and stuff. Well, guess what? I'm not charging $60,000. I'm not even going to charge $6,000. Jump over to our website. You see that our 90-day business accelerator boot camp, normal price $14.97. But I like people that take action. I like people that have gone through some of our webinar systems and stuff. So, while we're doing our webinar series and stuff, we've dropped that price down to $9.97 for the entire program. So I want you to think about that. What does that break down? Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to talk a little bit about our money back guarantee and stuff. So just like anybody that's ever done any business with me on my coaching level, my consulting level, or my real estate level, you know that I like accountability. I'm more about performance than I am about long-term contracts and stuff. So our money back guarantee is within 30 calendar days of our last training sessions. If you have done the work, which means that you have attended each session, you've completed and show that you've done all the homework, all the action steps, you've done the weekly commitments, and if you feel that the program is not worth every penny, I will refund you the full amount and you get to keep 100% of the content. This is the same training program that I have tied into my own personal real estate business. This is the same training program that I take for my team. This is the same training program that I've gone into other top performing teams out there and have brought to them. That's how much that's how much confidence I have in this training program that I can take it to other people. So, promise of 100% certainty, this would be the best investment you've ever made in your career. Next boot camp starts Wednesday, September 7th, 2016, 10 a.m. local time here on the West Coast. You see the other time frames and stuff. We meet very, very similar, just like this, in a webinar-based system and stuff. We'll have question and answers and items of that aspect. So think about this. $9.97, what does that truly break down to? It breaks down to about $11 a day. So if you decide to pack your lunch every day for the next 90 days, together, that savings alone will be covering the cost of your training. So registering for the, you can register now. Go jump over to gregttraining.com, click on products and service, look for the buy it now button. That pops you straight into our merchant portal and stuff. And so with that, let me open back up my little chat window here so that way I don't, since I have that ADD squirrel brain. And let's take a look. So let's go and look into some of our questions and stuff. Bear with me. I'm going to take a quick swig of water. How do I know if I'm not annoying somebody? Okay. There's the aspect of body language. You really, truly have to kind of, and this just comes with time and practice. So with the aspect of body language stuff, it's like if you start seeing people that are kind of, their eyes are wandering, or you almost feel like there's a disconnect there, anytime you have a feeling that there's a disconnect, it's probably the feeling is mutual and stuff. And so in that aspect, I'm going to kind of gradually, I'm going to look for a reason I can kind of pull away and stuff. One of my favorite things is, let me go use the restroom before we get started with our program or something like that. But if I feel like I'm kind of annoying somebody, I know that I don't want to apply pressure into them because that's not going to help build any type of relationship. That's not going to help build any type of, commitment or anything, community or anything of that aspect and stuff. So, a lot of times that's just, I'm kind of reading their body language. And let's go into also, I'll talk a little bit about what's called DISC. There's a personality profile out there. There are several different personality profiling systems out there. DISC happens to be probably one of the more, it's the one that I work with the most prevalent. Honestly, it was the first one I was trained on, and so it's the one that I always go to and stuff. And I mean, within my company, we are actually DISC certified providers and DISC certified trainers also on top of what we do. So, it is what I'm looking at is, every single person I profile out there, we all fall into kind of 1-4 elements and stuff. D is the dictator. It's the very, it's the dictator, the driver personality type, very much some typical CEOs, very much, the bulls in the china shop. very high I people, we're going to be the very high inspirational people. A lot of times you see people in sales that are within this. But these are, both then you have the high S, they're the high systems and stuff. They're going to be, they like systems, they like regulatory, they like regular items and stuff. And then the high C's are going to be the very high compliance type people. These are going to be your CPAs. These are going to be your attorneys. These are the people that they like all the T's crossed, all the I's dotted and stuff. So a lot of times, depending on how somebody is dressed or what profession they're in, will give you some insight as far as what personality type there is. Keep in mind, keep in mind that sometimes they're going to be exact opposites of that. My own personal profile is I'm a very high D and a very high I. So I'm very much driven to, self-started, very much driven on myself. One side, the high D, not a people person. The other side, a high I, very strong people person and stuff. And I mean, my rating and stuff is just a couple of points difference between the two. And how it was explained to me is I can basically, and depending on the situation and stuff, I can either be the driver, the person, we're going to get it done, we're going to get it done now, we're going to get it done this way, or I can be the very inspirational person of, hey, the team builder, let's all pull together, let's all join forces and stuff. So, a lot of times in those aspects and stuff, it's just how kind of reading the person's body language and stuff, and just kind of getting the general feeling and stuff. So. Next question here. Let's see, we covered that one. Pardon me while I scroll through. What are good events for me to attend? The best events for you to attend are the ones that you enjoy going to, the ones that you attend. As corny as that may sound, but it is the best event. I mean, it's as I said, I stay very active with my chamber and stuff. So at the tail end of the month, as we're kind of getting to the end of August here and stuff, I start looking at their calendar for September, and I start plugging in all those events that it makes sense for me to attend, which is majority of the events and stuff for September. Now, do I make every single chamber event? As much as I wish I could say that I do, I honestly don't, because if I have a client that comes in and they say, hey, I want to meet at this time frame and stuff, well, that client has to take higher priority than a chamber event and stuff, a social event and stuff, for my business model. So it is what events should you go attend? Honestly, the ones that you feel that make sense for you. Any type of, and it kind of really depends on your industry and stuff. Also, who do you want to meet? If your industry, if you work a lot within transportation industries and stuff, maybe the events that you should be attending, you should be looking for, meetups or industries and stuff that are very focused around like the ports or anything of transportation or anything, any type of aspect of that. Another great thing is going to be, maybe depending on your industry, is government affairs committees. The running joke is if you're in any degree or any level of business or self-employment, politics becomes a hobby that you keep a very, very close eye on because of what they may be doing in the state of Washington here. Olympia is our state capital, or what they're doing back on the East Coast of Washington, D.C. A lot of times what they do there can have an effect on our business here, of what we can and, how we run our day in and day out business and stuff. So, honestly, the events you should be attending are the ones that you should be going out there to. So. I love this question. Yeah, and I can relate to this question. I am naturally an introvert and I don't like starting conversations. Well, let me fill you in on a dirty little secret about Greg Towne. Deep down inside, I honestly think I know I'm an introvert too. And how I define an introvert is, how do you personally recharge? Do you recharge by being by yourself in silence, or do you recharge by getting out to the next party and being around a whole bunch of people, being a social butterfly? Myself personally, I recharge, honestly, how I recharge at the end of the day is being able to sit down, relax in silence with a good book. how I start off my day is kind of have my morning routine, and part of that is just by getting ready, getting myself ready and mentally prepared for the day. So I am very much an introvert myself, and I talk a lot about this. And to a certain extent, I think most people truly are. When you get to the core element is, most of us are introverts anyways. We just have to learn how to be extroverts when we need to be. We have to learn how to put ourselves out there. It is last month I did a lot of a lot of traveling stuff, and if, periodically in the different areas where I was at in Dallas, Texas, or Phoenix, Arizona, is I would jump over into a networking group that I knew absolutely nobody because I was traveling and stuff. And it really took me out of my comfort zone and really out of my element. And I had to really go back into, okay, my 5 core questions. Where do you work? What led you into that? What was it like your first day? Why do you love doing what you do? What are you working on today? I mean, it really kind of helped me, get back into those 5 core elements, and just being able to kind of step out of my comfort zone and stuff. So my honest opinion is I think most of us are truly introverts, and most of us, yeah, and that's what I talked about. Okay, that wallflower effect and stuff. You find somebody that's being a wallflower, and that's one of the reasons why I love being an ambassador with the chamber and stuff, is because that's honestly kind of part of my ambassador duties, is to find those wallflowers and how kind of bring them into the fold, bring them into the group and stuff. So it gives me a chance to kind of be that non-pushy person and be that friend. So. Can we do payments for the training program? Absolutely, absolutely. Send us a message or send me an email and stuff. We'll send you a link and stuff because we don't have that set up through our normal merchant portal and stuff. But we'll kind of invoice you 3 months, 333 or whatever it is per month and stuff. So, uh, do do do. Other programs that we have available. Okay, yep, awesome. Let me think here. Today's Friday, so next week we're going to finish up our series and stuff. So next week next Thursday we're going to talk about becoming a social media rock star, and then we're going to finish up next Friday, this time next week, the steps of closing the sale, the steps of getting to the closing and stuff, how to actually build, the rapport and stuff. Let me see your other questions here. I love all these questions we have coming in active group today. Yep, covered that. What is the best thing I've learned about networking? Ooh, best thing I've learned about networking is truly getting out there and building a relationship. Networking is not about how many business cards I can collect in a night. When I work with people, one-on-one and stuff, I tell them, like, your business card is probably the worst form of marketing out there. I was at a wake up group this morning and stuff. We did a speed network and stuff. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Got 8 business cards here and stuff. And basically, so I've got 8 people that I quote unquote new people that I met. And just purely in itself, these business cards, see if we can hear this and stuff over here, purely in themselves, all on their own, suck. They're horrible, horrible marketing tools and marketing techniques. It'll be interesting to see. Well, I've already reached out to a handful of these people on LinkedIn and stuff. It'll be interesting to see if anybody else connects back with me and stuff. The only reason that I like business cards is it gives me a chance to exchange contact information. And my attitude is I 100% want to be I trust my follow-up skills is going to be better than somebody else's follow-up skills and stuff. So the only reason I like business cards is it gives me a chance to collect their information so that I can follow up on it. And I mean, it is, in all honesty, out of these people here, there's 2 people in here that I plan to reach out to say, hey, let's get together. I'm really interested in learning more about your business, learning more about why you do what you do. Let's get together for a one-on-one and stuff. And in all honesty, it's like that's kind of where the magic comes into networking and stuff, is getting to know people outside of just the chamber event or the networking room or the social room or whatever you meet them at, and get into more of a one-on-one interaction with them. That's the true magic of networking and stuff. So And with that, looks like we got all the questions. Any other questions that are popping up in here and stuff? Nope. With that, looks like we got all the other questions popped up and stuff. So once again, thank you so much for joining us on today's presentation and stuff, today's webinar. As long as technology is working with us and stuff, we'll be uploading this into our YouTube channel. Feel free to share it. And with that, if you have any questions, feel free to reach back out to me. You can find us directly on gregttraining.com. Connect with us through any of our social media platforms and stuff. And no more questions and stuff popping in. And so with that, make it a great day, and I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much. I'll talk with you later.